James was the guy everyone called for advice. If you needed direction, you called James. He always knew exactly what to say. His friend Marcus called him one evening, stressed about quitting his stable job to start a small delivery business. James didn't even hesitate. Stop waiting for certainty. You'll never feel ready. The only way to learn is to start. 6 months from now, you'll either have results or lessons, but you'll have something. Marcus thanked him like he had just been handed gold. James hung up the phone, then he looked around his apartment. The notebook with his business plan was sitting on the shelf, same place it had been sitting for 2 years. He had researched everything: market trends, competitor pricing, logo concepts, business names. He had 11 tabs open in his mind at all times, but not one step taken in the real world. This wasn't new. James had been about to start so many things. The fitness plan he was starting Monday for the past 4 years. The book he was almost ready to write for the past 6. The conversation with his father he kept rehearsing in his head but never actually having. James was a brilliant advisor and a stranger to his own advice. One Saturday morning, James went to get coffee at a small shop that had just opened in his neighborhood. The owner greeted him with a warm, familiar smile. "James, is that you?" It took James a second. Then he recognized him, Harry. They had worked entry-level jobs together almost a decade ago. Harry was never the smartest one in the room. He barely finished his projects on time back then, but here he was, owner of his own coffee shop. Calm, confident, clearly thriving. "This is incredible," James said, looking around at the shop. "When did you start this?" 2 years ago, Harry said. "Had no idea what I was doing, just started anyway." James laughed politely, but something in his chest tightened. "I actually have a business idea myself," James said. "I've been planning it for a while." Harry tilted his head. "How long is a while?" James paused. 2 years, he admitted quietly. Harry didn't say anything cruel. He just looked at James for a moment. Then he said something that landed harder than any lecture could. "You always had the smartest answers in every room, James. I used to think you were just better than the rest of us, but I think you were just more scared. You just hid it better." James stood there holding his coffee. He wanted to argue. He wanted to explain the research, the strategy, the planning, but none of that was the truth. The truth was simpler and much harder to say out loud. "I think I was scared," James finally said. "I think if I actually started and it failed, that would mean I'm not as capable as everyone thinks I am." Harry nodded slowly. "And if you never start, you get to keep believing you could have made it. That's safer, but it's not real." James sat down at one of the small tables outside the shop. He stayed there long after his coffee went cold. He thought about every piece of advice he had ever given. Start before you're ready. Done is better than perfect. Fear means you're close to something real. He had said all of it to other people. He had believed none of it about himself. That night, James opened his notebook, the one that had been sitting on the shelf for 2 years. He didn't rewrite the whole plan. He didn't create a new strategy. He just did one small real thing. He registered his business name. 5 minutes, one form, one decision. It wasn't impressive. It wasn't even close to finished, but it was real. For the first time in 2 years, James had moved. Here is what this story teaches us. Knowledge feels like progress. Planning feels like progress. But neither of those things change your life. Only action does. You can know exactly what to do and still go nowhere, because knowing was never the hard part. Starting was. So ask yourself honestly, what is the one thing you already know you should do that you still haven't done?